What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new release film that just came out on VOD recently that I was very excited to watch because it stars Jim Cummings, who, if you have been watching my YouTube channel for a while now, I am a huge fan of Jim Cummings. I think he's an incredibly talented actor and director who has made some spectacular films in his career. And he did not direct this movie, but in his films Thunder Road, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, The Beta Test, they're all really well made films with amazing performances that kind of encapsulate all different genres. So whenever Jim works on a project, I get really excited for it. And I saw the trailer to this movie and I just thought it looked fantastic. I was really excited to check this movie out. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is The Last Stop in Yuma County. The Last Stop in Yuma County is directed by Francis Galuppi. While awaiting the next fuel truck in a middle of nowhere Arizona rest stop, a traveling young knife salesman is thrust into a high-stakes hostage situation by the arrival of two similarly stranded bank robbers with no qualms about using cruelty or cold hard steel to protect their blood-stained, ill-gotten fortune. So I was really excited to watch this movie. Didn't know anything about the director, but as I said, huge fan of Jim Cummings. Was really excited to watch the movie for that reason. And this movie was awesome. I mean, I have not watched a movie in a while that just like kept me on the edge of my seat and it was like heart-pounding anxiety from like the very first 5 minutes. And I was so impressed. I've read a lot of reviews and there's validity in it that this movie feels very much like early Coen brothers mixed in with some like Tarantino elements. And I see that 100%, especially through like the cinematography, a lot of the witty dialogue. But I don't want anyone to just kind of fall into thinking that it's like a copy and paste reenactment of those directors, because there's so much uniqueness in this film and there's so much attention to detail and just so many little elements and allusion to what's going to happen later in the movie. And it's funny, it's dramatic, it's honestly really mean-spirited in moments in like the best way possible. And I'm really excited to tell you about the film today. So at the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Jim Cummings' character, who is known as the knife salesman, and he pulls into this gas station, and this gas station attendant comes outside and he says, "Hey, all the gas pumps are dried up. We don't know when the truck is going to get here, and whenever it does get here, we'll fill it up, but right now we're empty. You can go wait at the diner next door until the truck arrives." And he's kind of upset by it, and he's like, "I'll just go to the next gas station." And the guy says, "Hey, the next gas station isn't for 100 miles. You're not going to get any gas. If you're really low, you're going to just run out in the middle of nowhere." So he reluctantly goes next door to the diner, where he goes inside and meets Charlotte, played by Jocelyn Donahue, who is the waitress but also the cook for the day because the cook isn't coming in. And they strike up a little bit of a conversation. She gets him a coffee, and shortly after, we are introduced to Bo and Travis, who at the beginning of the film we hear through the knife salesman's radio that there has been a bank robbery and that two men were seen fleeing the scene in a green Pinto. And they are driving a green Pinto, and they go to get their gas tank filled up, and of course there's no gas. And Bo tells Travis, "We're just going to stay in the car, we're not going to get out and do anything." And he's like, "Oh, come on, let's just go into the diner and get some coffee and some food. We're going to have to wait anyway. No one's going to recognize us." And so they reluctantly go inside. Well, once they get inside, they think that people might realize who they are, and slowly more people start making their way into this diner who are in the same situation where they need gas, but the fuel truck hasn't shown up yet. And so the entire film is a couple of the people in the diner know who these robbers are, while the other ones are completely oblivious. And that tension to whether or not the robbers are going to kill people, they're going to hold it up, what are they going to do? And the ticking clock element is, when will this gasoline truck show up so that everyone can just go on their way? So as I said, this movie was incredible. I absolutely loved it. For starters, the performances here from top to bottom are exceptional. These characters, each and every one, have so much life to them. And for the fact that this movie is an hour and a half long, and the director does such a phenomenal job at establishing establishing each and every character, giving them really layered personalities to where it's really easy to immerse yourself and enjoy it. Each character has like a really like overblown characteristics in a way that I can really appreciate a lot. It's hard in an hour and a half to like delve into everyone's backstory, but if you can give each character just enough to be able to sit back and just enjoy the experience, that's all you really need. And I think the way these characters are established and the moments they get early on are enough to hang on to through the entire runtime of the film. And there's all different actors that show up in this. Even Barbara Crampton shows up at one point and just gives a phenomenal performance. I'm a huge Barbara Crampton fan, and she is so good in this movie, provides a lot of comedic levity in the film. And I just think the dynamics between all the characters are great. The cinematography in this film is exceptional. There's so much attention to detail and just little things that are revealed that for you as an audience member, you're like, oh, this is associated to this. And is this person realizing that this is going on to set off another set of events? And that really makes the anxiety and the tension so much more palpable because you're seeing it, but there isn't necessarily expositional dialogue being like, hey, be anxious. It's just like the visual cues are giving you something. And this whole like ticking clock element of, is this gasoline truck ever going to show up or not? Or is there another gasoline truck going to show up because they say this one's delayed? And I loved that whole ticking clock element mixed in with just a really great performance from everyone and this really incredible cinematography that keeps you on the edge of your seat wondering what is going to happen. This movie gets unrelentingly violent in moments and in a way that is so like mean and nasty and careless for human existence in a way that I have not seen in quite some time. Like I said at the beginning of the review, there's a mean-spirited nature to the movie that is like really fun that you don't see in a lot of films anymore, where it's like the regard for human life in this film is so small, and there's also like comedic punches attached to some of it, and I don't feel like there's enough directors that really kind of approach that anymore. I feel like the Coens really did it a lot earlier in their career, like Tarantino does it. I feel like modern day Yorgos Lanthimos can do that sometimes, really just kind of like play with the human experience in a way that's so dark and depraved and unnatural. And I always respect a director that is willing to go that direction and be kind of twisted. And this is like Bad Decisions, the movie. Characters just make the stupidest, most absurd decisions, and it's wonderful to watch. It's like there are characters in this that are definitely more likable than others, and there's also characters in this that just have such a mysterious aura to them that it's impossible to read, and it makes it a very entertaining time for you as a viewer throughout the runtime of the movie to just kind of see whose side are you really on, or are you on a side at all. And I love movies that can push and pull with you emotionally like that. By about the 45-minute mark of this movie, some things started to happen that I just could not believe. And the restraint that the director has to hold off until towards the very end of the movie to really let things kind of go haywire and insane is something that I can very much appreciate. And this is just such a fun, quick, in-your-face movie that I promise you is thrilling and enthralling and will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end of the movie. I highly recommend supporting this film, renting it on VOD. It is 100% worth your time. So have you seen The Last Stop in Yuma County? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was exceptional. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It was dark. It was violent. It was everything I could possibly want in a movie. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.